the symptoms to look for if you are having a stroke? Well, our next guest does. We welcome Dr. Basit Rahim. He serves as the Medical Director of Stroke at Providence Mission Hospital. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You use the acronym Be Fast as ways to recognize the signs of a stroke. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, Be Fast is a very easy acronym that the stroke community has developed. So it highlights all the signs of a stroke. So B stands for balance. So if the balance is off, that's a sign of stroke. E is for eyes. Usually some type of strokes can have vision loss or blurry vision. That can be a sign of stroke. F is for face. So one of the most common things that brings somebody to the hospital with a stroke is basically a facial droop, one side or the other.
Right.
A is for arm weakness, and S is for speech, so slurred speech or lack of speech. That can also be
speech.
Yeah. So if somebody cannot get the words out or understand speech, that's also very characteristics. And the T is for time, so time to call 911.
So do you have to go through all of those symptoms?
No,
before you call, or
no, one
is
enough.
First?
One is enough. Yes.
Okay.
This Be Fast acronym just highlights what can occur
Those
during
are
a
just
stroke.
the things
Yes.
that you should be aware of and look for.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they come on suddenly, right?
It comes on suddenly. Unfortunately, some people wake up with stroke symptoms. Strokes don't have any kind of, they don't hurt. So people wake up with some stroke symptoms that can occur, but it's sudden onset.
Interesting.
Because once you lose blood flow to that part of the brain, it can cause immediate symptoms. The brain is very sensitive to that.
Okay. And is there a demographic in which you're seeing more stroke victims, or does it happen to everyone?
There is a genetic component to it. So a lot of African Americans and Latinos, they can get a higher prevalence of stroke. But as you age, your stroke risk factors and stroke risk significantly increases.
It does?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us, what are some of the ways that Providence is a leader in caring for stroke victims?
So at Providence Mission Hospital, we are a comprehensive stroke center. We got this designation in 2017, actually. And that is the highest designation that you can get from a Joint Commission survey. And what that means is that we have 24/7 neurologists, neurosurgeons, and staff to take care of any type of stroke, no matter how complicated it is.
So they also have that stroke, the designated stroke receiving center. Does that mean that people who don't live in the area can come in and seek treatment?
So stroke centers are divided into stroke receiving centers, comprehensive stroke centers. So basically, it's a network of hospitals that can potentially give you clot busting medication and transfer you to high level of care. So we welcome anybody to our hospital, but what typically these people are coming through ambulance, and the ambulance network knows that somebody bring them to a comprehensive stroke center like Mission Hospital.
That's wonderful. And then talk to us about Get With the Guidelines 2024.
So Get With the Guidelines is American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, highlights exceptional care in stroke. And Mission Hospital has been in the forefront of that. We've received multiple awards with our care and
Congratulations.
And thank you. With our time to therapy and our outcomes as well. And there's also strict guidelines, strict metrics that we have to keep to maintain these awards. And so we've been constantly doing that.
Constantly, yeah, wow. And I would imagine that, as with everything, medical advancement continues, right?
Yeah,
Especially in that
there's a
area.
lot of research going on in stroke. It is one of the leading causes of disability in the United States.
Is it really?
It is.
I did not know that.
So it is, there's a lot of research that's coming out, and it's a changing environment. And at Mission Hospital, we kind of adapt to all that.
Wow. So tell us, what is ischemic, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Ischemic.
Ischemic stroke.
So ischemic stroke
new
is,
word for me.
yeah, so ischemic stroke is basically lack of blood flow to the brain. It can happen if there's a clot that goes up to the brain or a fatty clog that happens over time. What happens is that there's a lack of blood flow, lack of oxygen to a particular part of the brain. And when that occurs, you get these symptoms of the BFAST. You can get speech arrest, slurred speech, facial droop. And those things are an emergency.
Okay.
So that's what ischemic stroke is. And that's about 85% of all strokes. Strokes is an umbrella term for either a bleeding type of stroke or ischemic, which is a lack of blood flow.
Okay. And then how is that particular stroke treated?
So time is very critical. So if you develop symptoms or if your loved one develops symptoms, call 911 right away. Come to a comprehensive stroke center like Mission Hospital. We have a clot busting medication, tenecteplase is called, TNK. We give that medication. That medication works kind of like analogy like a Drano. It opens up that clot. And then if that is not helpful, then we also have specialized neurosurgeons and interventionalists that will go up and actually suction that clot out or take that clot out.
Wow.
Restore blood flow.
Is there any preventative measures? In other words, can people go in to get a scan to see if they might be a victim of a stroke, or is there anything that they can do that's preventative?
50% of all strokes are preventive, and it all starts with your primary care doctor and your risk factors. The most important risk factors are high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, sleep apnea, and also genes play a role here as well, but these high blood pressure, smoking, and cholesterol, these are one of the major highlights that we do in follow-up care to prevent a stroke.
So we want to make sure that we have healthy lifestyles.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
We don't want to wait until we actually have a stroke and the symptoms are there to then change and modify behavioral patterns.
Exactly. A lot of these risk factors that I just mentioned are modifiable.
Mm-hmm. And is it advisable to tell the younger generations about the BFAST so that they know what to look for if, say, they were spending the day with their grandparents and something like that were to occur?
Yes, so that's why we kind of highlight BFAST, is to educate people who may have a stroke or caregivers or loved ones to recognize the signs of stroke and how important it is to call 911. So it's important any age. I've had patients who their grandkids who are teenagers call 911.
You have?
And probably saved their life, yeah.
That's fantastic. Do you have classes to teach teenagers or young adults?
We do community outreach just like this.
Yeah,
we do this quite often because we want our community to be healthy.
Absolutely, yes. We want them to come see you, but we don't want them to come see you.
Yes, but you have a comprehensive stroke center available, and there's a network of hospitals that work together to limit our disability that's caused in our community from stroke.
That's wonderful. Great information. Dr. Rahim from Providence Medical Hospital, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
When we come back, we will get the latest information from the El Toro Water District. You're watching This Day.